number of places it's been disturbed, in a number of places because of the field school construction. In addition to the fact that we would like to get the sidewalk in along the roadway and provide a little bit of a buffer to the parking as well. I just wanted, in terms of the existing characters of the wall, these walls are taller, they're much more formal and constructed, and they're, I don't know, 5 feet high, 4.5, 5 feet high. After this point here, the wall becomes more of a rubble wall. It's a little bit less finished. And the idea is that we would replicate that character for that lower kind of rustic wall. It would be constructed, but you wouldn't see any mortar joints. It would be of a looser character.
We wouldn't see any mortar joints.
It would be dry laid looking.
Yeah,
but
there would be mortar in it.
That's correct.
Okay.
So that would be for this section here.
What we don't want to do is reproduce Church Street.
Right, we're just thinking that. Maybe we need to show them a picture of Church Street.
Well, I'd like to see a picture of what this is going to look like.
Yeah.
Sure.
Would you elaborate on that? What about Church Street? Wouldn't you want to reproduce?
Well, drive down Church Street.
We thought we wanted a deeply raked, sort of
Couldn't really see the mortar. It was going to be,
wall, and that wasn't the way it turned out at all. You can see every bit of mortar.
Oh, I see.
It's really not good looking.
That's not what we want.
and then if you there's a temptation to make it look perfect.
If you drive by now, Alan, if you drive, but a couple of these walls have already been reconstituted as part of the field school. So this wall was finished 2 weeks ago, and this one as well.
So we can see a sample.
So you can see.
So we can sample.
Are those mortared?
Do you remember how the field school was mortared? I'll have to get you an answer on that. I don't recall what we specified in the field school.
Right. Are you widening the entrances to Alphabet Lane and Wellesley Street or School Street? It's the same width?
It's actually
Getting narrower. The whole throat of the exit at Wellesley Street is narrower.
Is there going to be one way out?
There'll be 2 lanes, but right now pedestrian crossing is a problem, and people just kind of pull around quickly. Or if you have 2 tighter defined lanes, they've got to kind of queue up and line.
And we'll also be removing chopping some of the vegetation around so that people can have a safe view around, so as they pull forward. Safer for pedestrians and safer for the drivers.
Where is the edge of the town's property right now? Where's the boundary?
It is the stone wall.
Removing the stone wall.
Yeah, so right now it's off the page here, but this is where it is. So it's about 5 feet off the roadway edge.
So, okay. I mean,
And that tapers too.
what happens if this town is not successful in getting eminent domain for this parcel?
And that portion of the project won't go forward.
So the stone wall rebuilding
Won't be required.
won't be
We
required.
won't be moving forward with anything in that zone.
What's the phasing of it? I mean, how long do you anticipate until a resolution on the eminent domain question?
This is supposed to be ready for the construction schedule next spring.
Next spring?
Yeah.
Do you think you're going to come to a resolution with Harvard before next spring? Okay.
I mean, that's what Michael's telling us, he's conducting the operation.
Yeah. Okay. It's all going to happen at once?
We have 2 phases. So the philosophy is that late spring, the Case Estates parking lot and the pool parking lot could be constructed. The pool so that it's available for the June opening. The timetable is flexible. If it didn't happen until the spring, until the fall, that's quite possible. But as it's packaged right now, it would be to do these 2 late spring, and then the 2 roadway improvements would be in the summer when the school's at its most minimal use, when it's just the pool and the rec center open.
But if necessary, that could be kept till last.
The Case Estates, yes.
Hold up somehow.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're not going to take down any
Right.
wall until you've got it all
Correct.
sewn up.
The other stone wall.
Yeah, there's no reason to. I mean, the stone wall is kind of falling over, but you wouldn't need to go onto the other side of the property unless you were taking that far.
The one up near School Street, is that going to require any regrading at all?
No.
No regrading?
It's going to be built right behind the existing sidewalk. Because the roadway, the sidewalk all stays the same way. The stone wall just right behind the existing sidewalk, replacing that wooden guardrail that's already there.
So you don't have to clear any trees or anything like that to build it?
I think so, I'm not sure if there's a,
No, there's no clearing involved.
There might be a little
Some
understory
vegetation.
clearing, so there's no trees.
We're basically just replacing an existing.
Yeah, so there's an existing guardrail there, so that low vegetation obviously need to be cleared, but it's going to sit in that same footprint as the existing guardrail, and that redoing existing sidewalk and pavement.
Any other lighting anywhere else?
No.
Just in that one parking lot?
Correct.
Nothing associated with the pool, parking, or anything?
No, because their primary use is just the 2 summer months when the days are the longest.
Could we just have a quick go around of the plantings?
Sure. Josh can walk you through that.
I'll start with the Case Estate lot. So the overall concept with the landscaping was, this is obviously a very wooded hillside here. And it was really, the intent was to maintain that naturalistic landscape as it came down the hill, and then transition to a landscape that's more associated with the elementary school and Alphabet Lane. So along Alphabet Lane on the field school side, we have some ornamental trees and grass. So we're replicating that on this side, between the sidewalk and the road, so that there would be some ornamental trees and a lawn area between the sidewalk and the roadway. Between the sidewalk and the new wall.
Just give me an example.
I believe these are, there's some fringe trees and some amelanchier. I think.
What goes between the road and the sidewalk? What kind of ornamental trees are they?
The same thing.
Okay.
How tall do they get?
They're shrubby.
Well,
sort of like-
they're mid-sized trees,
Yeah, but they can be
15 to
multi-stem.
20, they're multi-stem.
Right, they're nice, Symmetry's very fragrant in spring.
You make sure I'm getting all the right ones.
You don't think for
This,
Not tall.
the landscape over here was analyzed and dissected by numerous landscape consultants for the town. And the idea was it was kind of a continuation of this arboretum concept, to have a diversity of plant material on that side.
This is Nancy Flutie. Provided a lot of input.
That's the unusual variety.
But I think it's interesting, and
Yeah, no, it's great.
they're natural trees, and yeah.
They're native.
It's a fringe tree and amelanchier. Those are the ones.
So that's in a little island.
That's here and here.
Very too bad it's got the-
So, just moving through, between the sidewalk and the wall will be a ground cover, more of a naturalistic. It's starting to transition to a more naturalistic character. And then in the parking lot itself, what we did is we clustered native trees, and they're basically red maples and pin oaks that would be clustered in groups, kind of associated with the islands, but then also around the perimeter to provide a continuation of that natural character, as I mentioned before.
What's the ground cover?
The ground cover, well, there's a number of ground covers. This area between the wall and the parking, and then in the islands, is going to be ornamental grasses to help define the islands. And then the ground covers are bearberry, Bar Harbor juniper, and Lovewood blueberry.
And for the grasses, you're not putting in tall ones.
We do have some miscanthus. Yeah, the idea, as Jeff mentioned earlier, the parking base is a gravel paving. It's a reinforced gravel system, and we're not having any curb here. And so the idea with the planting was that it would help define the parking. So we wanted to make sure there was something that was vertical that would define those parking bays, so that people didn't use it for parking there, and to protect the trees.
Did Tim make any mention about, or talk about the miscanthus?
No.
Just, Palma grass is strictly nice, tall, pretty much
Mhm.
discrete, doesn't, and you know, this campus has a tendency to just get bigger, bigger,
Yep.
bigger, and eventually it'll be hanging over the cars in the parking lot.
So we have, and we can just eliminate that and use others. There's the Festuca Walker, do you know that one?
Yeah.
And then the
Small.
Pennisetum,
Yeah.
and then the Little Blue Star. Of the other three that we have.
Yeah. I think there are varieties of this campus that are not these big, huge ones, but I don't know where they are offhand. It seems to be huge.
Okay.
Anyway,
Oh, we're
but that's
happy
just
to-
my only concern on that, is they need it to be
Sure.
7 feet tall and 20 feet wide.
Understood.
What happens in the winter when you don't have the grasses?
If you cut them down and trim them, then you don't have them, like,
Just like the dry
but
grass.
they, yeah, usually they're just let them be there.
I like, you know, a lot of people cut them down in the fall. I like leaving them up in the
Better,
winter to give nice winter interest. And that's what we recommend here.
I think I noticed some infill planting up along the upper section of Alphabet, there's near School Street, the drawing behind that one.
Yeah. I'll get to that. So the only planting really that's proposed along the back, so this would be along the back of the wall, the new wall, along Alphabet Lane. And it would be sporadic planting, shrub planting, native shrubs. And the idea is that they would infill certain areas to try to reinforce the understory. But one of the things that's nice as you're walking down the sidewalk is the views down into the fields. So we would work those around the views so that we maintain the views, but there are certain areas where it is a little bare and they could use some planting. So there's a whole variety of shrub planting that we're proposing over there. Bearberry, some viburnums.
Are you removing any of the trees along
No.
Most of the trees are set back from that existing guardrails, so we're just replacing the lower stops that we're taking.
So chokeberry, red twig dogwood, male and female winterberry, inkberry, cinquefoil, the Canadian yew, and maple leaf viburnum is our plant palette for those shrubs.
That is an area we could thin out too, if we feel that the landscape in there is a little heavy.
Kim, do you have any comment on that?
No, she thought that it was a good variety. She didn't comment on the density. I think it's probably one of those things that once you're out in the field, the density sort of will
Well,
call itself into play.
These plants are very different sizes. Bearberry is the low ground cover, slowly, very slow spreading stuff. Viburnums are tall in area and deciduous, so I don't think there's an overgrowth going on there. There's lots of different sizes.
But you may need a little extra planting, because people use that field and then, you know, at the end, soccer practice, you know, kids just like to run up the hill or run down the hill, or, you know, they're late, you know, that kind of thing. So
Was
that's a
poison ivy in there?
Poison ivy and
That's good.
roses.
Okay.
Combination.
You're not doing anything at the intersection of Wellesley and...
No, we're not proposing any planting or lighting in the other leg.
There was a planting plan associated with the pool lot, a full build out of the pool lot that's in your set, and obviously that's not happening.
I'm sorry that Dave isn't here, because I did have a couple of questions about the gravel portion of the.
Basically, everything's being treated as being.
Hard surface?
Right, exactly. It's calculated as it's like it's pavement.
So even though they're using this...
So the curve doesn't matter? If they-
Right.
If they change the asphalt, it wouldn't change the.
It wouldn't change the calculus, no.
Because I think a few years of snow plowing that stuff, and it
Yeah.
might get to be
Impervious?
some second thoughts might occur, I don't know. So we need to get a better sense of the what the stone walls are look like.
Right, and you actually wanted
A
footprints
color
around.
diagram of the parking lot lighting.
No.
You know, it's a lot of good work that you've done.
A long time in the making.
Your
Yeah.
submission also includes a country school parking expansion, but I haven't seen you talk about that. Is that part of this?
Yeah, we're proposing a couple extra trees that. In this plan, at this location here, we're just gonna add a couple of trees to the end of the parking lot, because it was both there. We hit some ledge in this area here, so we changed the geometry of the parking lot a little bit. There's a lot of area, a little for the pocket here, we tried to replant. I think that's what's shown on that plan.
So the expansion of the parking lot is actually package one?
Yeah, this parking lot was actually done under the field school itself. But then we didn't put plantings there near the mouth of the driveway, so we thought about adding those.
That's the pool parking lot, Al, that is not gonna go forward at this time.
Yeah.
I mean, I hate to keep harping on this, but what is the plan if you can't get that parking lot on the case lane? Is there a plan B for where to put those cars?
No, that'll happen. I think it's just a question of timing, but the timing is far enough along now that there's a reason to believe it's gonna be on the schedule.
Okay.
Yeah, we would just not do that part, we would postpone that.
Good, okay. Thank you. Any other questions? Good, thank you.
Thank you.
Looks beautiful now. Building the shapes all up, the bricks are going up, the windows are going up. So I'm almost trying to go back and it's really different shape.
Oh, I listened to the building on